welcome to Laugh Out Lore's brand new show, Passed Down Stories. Just a quick intro. This is a brand new show. There may be technical difficulties. It shouldn't be a super long show. There should only be like an hour-ish. But essentially, what we did is Curtis created a story. It's about 5 minutes long, and then he passed it on to me. I recorded my retelling of the story and gave it to, I have the list here, Brian. Brian isn't here tonight, but we'll still watch it. Brian recorded his retelling of the story I told, which should be close to the one Curtis told. We'll see.
Maybe.
And it kept going. So the order is Curtis was the originating story. Then myself, Brian, Chris, Alex, and Anthony. Now, when we get to the cameras, there's going to be a couple different things. We are going to be showing our cameras first, but then after we play the first video, we are actually shutting off the cameras for the videos themselves, turning back on the camera. So it's a lot of work. I may forget to turn on our cameras. Sorry, but this is kind of a practice run anyways, so we'll see what happens.
Also, to the viewers, none of us have seen any
That's
videos other than the one that we recorded and the one that was sent to us.
Yep.
So a lot of these we're seeing for the first time.
We will be muting ourselves while the video is playing, so hopefully it cuts down on any echoes. Also, it will cut down on the amount of real estate we have on the stream itself. So we can't have videos, our cameras up while we have the video playing, but hopefully it'll be okay anyways. So with that, I guess we're going to get started. If you're just joining us from Facebook or you're joining us from just anywhere, thanks for joining us. Like I said, this is a brand new show, so I guess we will get started. So let me switch screens here. All right. So the left side should be the chat window. We will see if I set that up correctly. Where we're displayed here is where the videos will be playing. So I guess we can, Alex and Anthony are together right now. They are out camping. So we will get started now.
Yeah.
The first story is from Curtis. I'm going to go ahead and mute us all, including myself. Hopefully. There we go. Again, want to make sure everybody knows we may not it may be a little more difficult at first, but we will get it going. So you guys should be able to see Curtis's face, at least there.
The year, 1987. The place, Montana. Bill Gruff and his wild posse have settled down for the night. There's plans of a heist at first sun. Seems the quiet little town they grew up in has quite a few jewels in the bank. Those jewels are in need of a new pocket. The boys settle down for the evening and they make themselves a round of stew. As morning approaches, old Wild Bill wakes. He rises the others, pours them all cups of coffee, and tells them to check on their revolvers. Make sure they're reloaded. See, the evening before wasn't easy either. They took a stagecoach. Needed a way to get all them jewels out of town. New stagecoach in hand, handful of horses and a donkey. They rode into town. As they approached the New Silver Bank, They noticed something a little off. Wasn't nobody there. Not typical for a Tuesday morning. They walked up to the front doors and sure enough, they was unlocked. Walking in, they didn't see a teller. What could come of this, Bill thought. And he figured nothing more than they must have went down to the saloon for some morning brunch. Not thinking much of it, he turns to Terry, says, Terry, why don't you get back here and find that safe that we talked about? Grab the thing I told you to bring with you. Terry walks to the back, pulls out 4 roped sticks of dynamite, ties them to the lever of the safe, pulls his wire out front. As he's setting up the pump to set off the dynamite, old Wild Bill turns around. Now, boys, I know you're not doing what I think you're doing. Sure enough, Sheriff was right on their tail. Heard news about their plan the day before, told the folks to get out of town. There'd be some gunfire. Terry pushes down the plunger and dynamite explodes. Dust fills the room and old Wild Bill was caught with 4 bullets. Sheriff wasn't far behind him. Turns out that outlaws don't take kind to the law. Who'd have thought? Sheriff was put down. His deputy stormed the room. As the dust started to settle, Terry wasn't nowhere to be found. Seems he made his way to the back with the safe. You'd never thought that bandits got the good end of this story. Old Wild Bill's dead. McHale hung for sure. Sheriff got buried in his own private plot next to his wife. Not sure whatever came of that deputy. Maybe he's rich with Terry. Either way, Terry's left to keep on the legacy of Wild Bill.
Woohoo!
Yeah,
That
so
is
Man,
not how I thought it went.
Man,
Yeah.
I should narrate westerns.
yeah,
Oh,
we
no.
that I do not remember saying a lot of that. So
Now you've all heard the original story.
yeah.
Oh God, no.
So now that we have the original, I guess it's my turn to show my
I'll
video.
say, yeah, let's go ahead and play yours
And
now.
let's see how bad it is. Let me go ahead and get it going. I almost said get it up, but then I know Jam might
That's
get a
what she
little
said.
get a little excited.
One could say I'm a little horny for this.
Legit. All right.
Oh,
I'm gonna go ahead and mute us all and get the next video going.
Let's go.
This is the story of Wild Bill. This is the story of Wild Bill. Wild Bill was an outlaw. Back in the Old West, he had his eye on this job. This job was robbing a bank. Wild Bill, he had a posse. And that posse was some of his trusted friends. Old Bill, he had plans for that money. So the posse woke up the next morning and said, "Boys ready?" The posse nods their head and they rope up. And he says, "Terry, go grab that thing I told you to grab." Terry nods his head, comes back out, patting his little pouch, and they head off to the bank. Bandanas over their faces. They go in. Something was wrong. Everybody was missing. There's nobody in the bank at all. Wild Bill and his posse look about. Can't find nobody. Wild Bill, thinking his luck just got better, walks back to the vault with Terry. Says, "Terry, go get it." Terry grabbed onto his pouch and opened it up and pulled out a couple sticks of dynamite. They tied that dynamite to the bank vault on the lever, and a voice sounded from behind. "Wild Bill." Sorry, phone call. "Wild Bill, what do you think you're doing?" Wild Bill smiled, pulled his gun, and shot at the sheriff, but not before the sheriff got a couple shots off him. Wild Bill, laying in his blood, says, "Terry, do it." Terry lights the fuse. Sheriff laying on his back, the rest of the posse running. Nobody knows what happened to Terry. The deputy came in, saw the sheriff on the floor, went back to the safe. Him and Terry's never found again. Maybe Terry and the deputy's off rich somewhere. Maybe Terry died and the deputy took it all. One thing's for sure, the legend of Wild Bill continues to this day.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, so that was
And so
not the story that you told.
like the story's there, but it got scrambled.
Yeah, I did.
That's pretty funny how that worked out.
I think I grabbed the essentials. I swapped fuse for the plunger, and I think you actually said that he did that before the sheriff came.
So in my story, they were at the bank when he told Terry to grab the dynamite.
Gotcha.
And then he sets off the dynamite, dust fills the room, and then they started shooting.
Gotcha. Well, I was close.
That's pretty
I
funny.
think.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I'd say I got like maybe an 80%. That's not
I
bad.
like when you said "get it," your dog heard you too.
Yeah, I know.
Get what?
Yeah, he was
What
like,
am I
"Oh,
getting?"
okay." All right. Well, on to Brian's. Again, Brian's not here, but we'll go ahead and play his video. So we'll be switching over. Hopefully. Let's see. Get rid of mine. It's actually quite a lot of work. It's more work than I actually thought it would be. So this video is vertical, so hopefully that doesn't mess up anything. We're about to find out, though.
He looks at Terry. He goes, "Hey, Terry, go grab that." This is a story about Wild Bill. Wild Bill was an outlaw of the West. Wild Bill had a mission. His mission was to rob a bank, but he had plans for the money. Wild Bill, he had a posse of the closest friends that he had. He's trusted. He wouldn't let anybody in. Only the ones he truly trusted. Well, Wild Bill wakes up along with his posse. And he says, "Boys, you ready?" They nod their head and said yes. He looks at Terry. He goes, "Hey, Terry, go grab that thing that I told you to get." Terry walks over, grabs his satchel, puts it around him, and says, "Got it, boss." Well, they ride out, saddle up and go. Well, they finally get to the bank, pull up their bandanas, and walk in. So they walk in, they noticed the bank was empty. They find it very weird that the bank was empty. Well, they decide, here's our chance. So they go to the back, to the vault. Say, "Terry, go grab it." Terry grabs the satchel, pulls out a couple sticks of dynamite. So Terry tied them off to the vault. Well, at that time, they hear a voice. Wild Bill, you hear behind him. Turns around, it's the sheriff. The sheriff says, "What you doing, Wild Bill?" He just smiles and says, "Sheriff, you already know." Shoots the sheriff. But not before the sheriff got a couple shots in on Wild Bill. Wild Bill is laying there bleeding in his pool of blood. He screams out, "Terry, blow it!" Terry lights the fuse. The posse starts running. It explodes. Well, with that explosion, the deputy shows up and sees Wild Bill laying there dead, along with the sheriff. Posse's gone. They all ran off. He goes to the vault. Where's Terry? And Terry's missing too. Well, nobody really knows what happened to Terry. Could be him and the sheriff. The deputy hadn't gotten the money because they were working together and were living somewhere now, split up, shared the money. The deputy probably shot Terry and took the money for himself. No one really knows. Well, that there is the legend of Wild Bill.
All right, now we're back. Yeah, so as I was saying, really fucking close. But you're right. I did not say anything about bandanas, and he picked that up.
Yeah, so it's like not only do things get dropped, but things are also being added in.
Yeah, and it actually makes sense. I thought that he was pretty spot on, like pretty spot on.
Yeah.
And that
I'm sure.
if I remember correctly, he didn't do his until almost 2 days later.
Yep.
So now we're at Chris. Who?
Can I give context to mine? I
Yes,
want to give
please
the
do,
context.
because I was going to ask you to.
So, to be fair, I recorded mine a day and a half later because I just did not think about it while I was recording it, and I had my headset put up. So I recorded one whole video of silence. So
I'm
I had
excited
to
for this one.
record it.
I'm pretty
I am
excited for
not.
this one too.
And you didn't watch it again.
Nope, I
The
stuck
next
to the
day.
rule.
Yep.
I did
That's
not
funny.
watch Brian's again. I went off of everything that I could have swore I remembered.
That is hilarious.
Let's
All
find
right,
out
let's
what you
do this.
remembered.
All right.
Not a lot.
I'm going to make the change on their side. All right, here we go.
About a legendary man. This is a story about a legendary man named Billy. Billy from the West. Now, Billy from the West had a posse. And with his posse were his best friends. Ones that he absolutely trusted with his life. Wouldn't even bat an eye, take a bullet for one of them. Same for them to him. Well, you know, they rob, they steal. Here out in the West, what else are you supposed to do? Well, Billy got an idea one day. Now this idea got some of his guys excited. He was like, you know, they're all sitting around at the campfire, hanging out, drinking their whiskey, and Billy pipes up and tells him, hey, I got something we're going to do. They all kind of turn and look at Billy. You know, what are we doing now? He goes, you'll see. Just be ready. And he looks over at Terry. Specific one. Terry. He goes, Terry, did you get what I asked for? Terry walks up, lifts up the satchel. He goes, I got it right here, boss. He goes, all right. Step one. So, a few days go by now. They don't not just the next day. A few days go by. So after those few days, they finally get the chance. Billy's like, today's the day. We're going to do this. So early morning, they all get up, pack up camp, and start riding into town to the bank they're going to go to. And as they're coming into town, it's quiet. A little too quiet. Billy don't think anything of it. You know, it's early morning, still a little. Everyone's just kind of waking up. They walk into the bank, though. Nobody in the bank. Dead silent. Billy's kind of looking around. He's like, well, it's now or never, boys. Tells Terry, go blow that vault open. Terry walks up with the satchel, opens it up, starts pulling out some dynamite, starts putting dynamite around the lock. And Billy's standing there, you know, as he's watching Terry put him around. And he gets a strange feeling. He just stops. Billy turns around, looks at the guy, looks. It's the sheriff. Sheriff looks right back at Billy, going, Billy, what you doing? Billy looks back at the sheriff, going, you know what I'm doing, Sheriff? Puts a bullet in. Boom. Sheriff dropped. But not before the sheriff could get a couple shots into Billy. As Billy falls, hits the ground, laying in a pool of his own blood, he looks up at him, looks up at Terry and tells Terry, blow it. So Terry blows it and makes this giant explosion. Shrapnel goes everywhere, and the guys scatter. Because at this point, it ain't worth it. So they just scatter. Well, all in the midst of it, the deputy heard this. Decided, I'm going to go and start running. Runs up to the bank. Gets to the bank. Well, he sees Billy there, lying dead in a pool of blood. And that's it. There's no sheriff. No Terry. Some money was missing, though. So I wonder what happened. Guess you guys will have to wait for the next story to find out.
That
Yeah.
has extra dialogue. But though I'm not gonna lie, it still works.
You know what's really funny? It's like he got this, and now the story's going back to what it originally was.
Yeah.
Because he had Terry blowing up the bank vault before anything else happened, like the original story. So it's like it changed one way and then it flip flopped back.
Shave your arm hair.
Yeah.
I was just thinking as I was like remembering some of the stuff, day and a half later, fucking recording this. I was sitting there and I'm like, okay, West, drinking, talking, Dynamite, Billy, Terry. That was like the only name that actually stuck out in my head.
It went from Wild Bill to Billy
the Bill
of the West.
Billy
But
of the
as
West.
I started saying it, as I started talking, some of it started coming back, and that's where you can hear like where I
Right.
start adding in his original story.
Yeah.
Right.
It was pretty
So-
good. Billy of the West.
Oh, Billy of the West.
I love it.
But I wonder where Terry is.
I don't know. You forgot to mention
Nobody-
anything
no-
about Terry.
Nobody knows at this point. We might find
And
out
On
by
to
the
the
end of the
next
stream.
guy.
All right. So next is
Whatever,
Alex's
sausage
video.
grease.
Now, Alex's video, at least the very first screen is dark. I don't know if that's how it's going to be the whole video because I've not watched it. So let's see if
I
can
can't
figure
remember
this out.
either, to be fair. You're in it at some
All right.
It's
point.
been a few days.
Yeah, it has. All right. So here we go.
A long time ago in the West, there was a legendary man that lived. His name was Billy. And Billy was known for traveling with his gang of compatriots, his friends, the closest people that he could ever know. Now you see, Billy had aspirations for greater things than just small little robberies and little heists. Billy dreamed of much grander things. So one night, Billy goes to a campfire with his friends, sitting outside of this small little town. He looks at his friend Terry. Now, Terry was always known to be able to get a hold of some very dangerous things. He had connections all across the territories. Now, Billy looked at Terry and said, "Terry, you get a package for me?" Terry nodded his head. Billy said, "All right, here's the plan, boys." So he told his friends the plan. Now, Billy was not a stupid man. Billy liked to carry around a revolver. He liked to do some very dangerous things. So Billy and Terry discussed this plan throughout the night, making sure every detail was perfect. So Billy and his friends the next morning set off to town. Now it was a short ride, but Billy and Terry were mighty nervous. They knew fully what was in stock. So Billy and Terry and the rest of their crew rolled into town. It was high noon. And they walk into a bank, masks on, drawing their guns, telling everybody to drop to the ground. It's at this point that Billy tells Terry that it's time to execute the rest of the plan. So Billy and Terry go into the back while the rest of the crew held up the front. Billy and Terry set up, see a vault. Billy tells Terry that's the spot. So Billy instructs Terry to pull out the package that he asked him to get. It was a whole bunch of dynamite. Now Terry had a background with explosives. He was a miner once. So Billy and Terry sat up their TNT on the edge of the vault, trying to blow a hole through it. Billy heard some steps behind him and some gunshots behind the door. In come walking the sheriff. Now, this is the first time Billy had ever met the sheriff. The sheriff says to Billy, "What are you doing there, sir?" Billy looks at the sheriff. "Well, I think you know what I'm fixing to do." Now, at this moment, they both drew their guns, firing wildly at each other. Billy was hit a few times, and so was the sheriff, and the sheriff dropped. Billy did too. In his last gargling, dying breaths, looked at Terry, pool of blood filling around him, and told him, "Terry, it's time to blow it." Terry, without haste, ran into the next room, taking cover from what was about to ensue of chaos, and drove the plunger down, setting off every stick of dynamite. Now, the next morning, they all had disappeared into the night. All that was found was Terry. Not Terry. All that was found was Billy. Billy, holes drilled through him from the bullets, most of his body mangled from the explosion. There was no body of the sheriff. There was no Terry. The rest of the posse had long since been gone. There was some money missing, though. So I guess you were going to have to figure out and wait for the next episode.
Now we've got multiple episodes coming.
Yeah, apparently.
So, by the way, again, masks.
Yeah, and you know what's funny though?
And also,
he
now
brought
the
back
bank
the
is filled with
plunger.
people.
And it's
Yeah,
noon.
and brought back the plunger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
I don't
it's
know.
noon.
I don't even know how that came through because I know for a fact I said ignite. I think everybody else just said blow it, blow it, blow it, and then
Yeah.
he comes back with plunger, which is 100% accurate.
Right. That's what I'm
And
saying. Like,
Terry missing and the sheriff missing at the end is accurate too. And Chris didn't say anything about that.
I think it was the
Yeah.
deputy. The sheriff died, right?
yeah, in the original, the sheriff died
Yeah.
and was buried with his wife.
Mm.
And I said that the deputy was missing.
But it was close because Chris didn't say anything about
Right.
about it. I mean, that's awesome.
Right.
That was awesome.
Maybe the story will come back and be the original by the last video here.
Maybe because I think we're on our last one.
Look at Anthony. He's like,
So, I don't know about that.
hey, if I can do this, so can you, buddy. And I waited
I
a
went
day
with
and
what
a
I
half.
had, all right?
So this the last video here, right?
It is the last video. It's Anthony's video. So let's see what we can do.
This is a legendary tale in the West of a guy named Billy and his gang. Now, Billy was a smart guy, always aspired to do more. One night, he had a plan. So he went and found his buddy Terry. Terry, having connections and always coming through, received a package for Billy that night. Billy asked him for it. He explained to Terry that he wanted more. Sat down around a fire and told Terry his plan. The next day, they went into town and went to the bank and acted on said plan. As they're robbing the bank, they get in the vault. They're preparing to blow it. Terry used to be a miner, so he knows how to rig some explosives and TNT and whatnot. As they're putting the final pieces in place to blow the door, they hear some footsteps and gunshots behind them. When Billy turns around, he sees the sheriff. He's never met the sheriff before. So, says, "Howdy." Sheriff says, "What you doing, Billy?" Looks around. Says, "I think you know what I'm doing here." They both... Sheriff says, "Yeah, kind of obvious. Can't let you do that, you know that." And he says, "Yeah." They both draw, shoot wildly. They both get shot a few times. Sheriff goes down. Billy goes down. As he's gargling. Seems to be losing his life. He says, "Terry, it's time to blow it." Terry, being loyal as he always has been, runs over to the next room, depresses the plunger. There's a huge bang. Next day, the smoke clears. Find the sheriff. Find the rebel. Find the money missing. They can't find the gang. For some reason, they can't find Terry. Or no, Billy. He's just gone. And if you want to know what happens, you're going to have to tune in to the next episode.
Huh.
Things have changed.
I like how that one went.
So now Terry's a minor.
Which was never discussed. He may have been a minor.
Hey, it's the
And
West.
Yeah.
We
I mean, it sounds
towards
accurate,
the
to be
last
honest.
couple videos, we have full detail of how Terry got that package too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, though. Yeah. I love it. This is hilarious. You guys want to watch the original, see how far off it is?
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it went like this. Okay, it went all right. It went good. It went good. No. Then it leveled out for a second.
Yeah.
And then when you got to mine, you kind of went down, and then it leveled out again.
Yeah.
That's
Pretty much.
literally how it went. Like,
And
it
somehow,
pretty
like,
much stayed where it was supposed to.
Yeah.
well, like somehow details got dropped, and then details got added to go back
Yeah.
to what the original story was again.
Yep.
Which I think
Yeah, I
is the
thought I was
funniest
going to be
part.
way off, but that was actually pretty close.
It was pretty close.
Yeah, no,
And it came back
everyone
too
was-
to being the next day.
Yeah.
instead of a
Everyone
few
was
days
pretty
later.
much
And I think
close.
Terry was the one missing in every story.
Yeah,
Except for yours.
Yeah.
Because you said Terry first. Then you said, no, wait,
But he goes-
Billy.
Billy.
Yeah. All right. Let's go back to the original.
Yes.
The year 1987. The place, Montana. Bill Gruff and his wild posse have settled down for the night. There's plans of a heist at first sun. Seems the quiet little town they grew up in has quite a few jewels in the bank. Those jewels are in need of a new pocket. The boys settle down for the evening and they make themselves around a stew. As morning approaches, old Wild Bill wakes. He rises the others, pours them all cups of coffee, and tells them to check on their revolvers, make sure they're reloaded. See, the evening before wasn't easy either. They took a stagecoach. Needed a way to get all them jewels out of town. New stagecoach in hand, handful of horses and a donkey. They rode into town. As they approached the New Silver Bank, they noticed something a little off. Wasn't nobody there. Not typical for a Tuesday morning. They walked up to the front doors and sure enough, they was unlocked. Walking in, they didn't see a teller. What could come of this, Bill thought. And he figured nothing more than they must have went down to the saloon for some morning brunch. Not thinking much of it, he turns to Terry, says, Terry, why don't you get back here and find that safe that we talked about? Grab the thing I told you to bring with you. Terry walks to the back, pulls out 4 roped sticks of dynamite, ties them to the lever of the safe, pulls his wire out front. As he's setting up the pump to set off the dynamite, old Wild Bill turns around. Now, boys, I know you're not doing what I think you're doing. Sure enough, Sheriff was right on their tail. Heard news about their plan the day before, told the folks to get out of town. There'd be some gunfire. Terry pushes down the plunger and dynamite explodes. Dust fills the room and old Wild Bill was caught with 4 bullets. Sheriff wasn't far behind him. Turns out that outlaws don't take kind to the law. Who'd have thought? Sheriff was put down. His deputy stormed the room. As the dust started to settle, Terry wasn't nowhere to be found. Seems he made his way to the back with the safe. You'd never thought that bandits got the good end of this story. Old Wild Bill's dead. McHale hung for sure. Sheriff got buried in his own private plot next to his wife. Not sure whatever came of that deputy. Maybe he's rich with Terry. Either way, Terry's left to keep on the legacy of Wild Bill.
All right. So you know what? I realized something. So
That nobody had McHale.
No one.
McHale disappeared.
I basically dropped what was in the safe. I dropped what happened to the rest of the team besides Terry and Billy.
Also, the stagecoach. that
Yeah.
they robbed the day before to get the stuff in the safe away with.
Yeah. So that was pretty fun. I dropped probably the most because you had a lot of it. What's funny though is yours and Alex's are the exact same time length.
Yeah, that's the other thing I was going to point out. The time dropped,
Yeah.
and then like each video, it kind of like tapered back up again
Yep.
as more details were put back in. That's why I tried to include enough detail that things would be left out or
Right.
mistaken,
Yeah.
but not so much that it's like you couldn't ever possibly retell the story.
Exactly. Yeah. That was an interesting experiment.
Yeah, I really thought that they were going to be a lot closer. When we originally were talking about doing this, I was like, man, we're about to watch like 6 of the same video.
Right.
Oh no.
I knew there would be some deviation because my memory span is minuscule. So I think I did pretty well, like just getting the entire story out, but I dropped a lot of
I'm
actual
basically
details.
Dory with short-term memory.
It's like, oh,
I need
bro.
a minute to
Wait.
remember it.
Yeah.
Unless I've done it multiple times, like physically with my hands where I can remember it, good luck.
Yeah.
Wait till I have to retell a story because I couldn't even write that story. I just had to turn the video on and hit record
Yeah.
and start talking. Because
Yeah.
I would never remember what I wrote down.
So I think so. This was basically our practice run. We did have some technical glitches. Overall, it went pretty well, and in fact, we're like 8 minutes shy of the show being an hour. So that actually
Yeah.
did really well. It's pretty close to what we thought.
Our time estimate was on.
Yeah.
And as things progress too, and we do this more, it'll become more routine of just
Oh yeah.
we do this, do that, do this, do that.
Yeah.
Build the filler time with more talk and get that extra 8 minutes, and we'll be good to go.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the at the end of each show, I know this is already predetermined because this is a practice run. The second story is still going to be by Curtis because that was our original plan. But for the rest of us, those who want to play next round, let's we'll roll numbers again like we did before for the order. But I think on next show, whenever it comes down to who gets to tell the next story, I think we should roll a d20 and see who gets the highest. And whoever gets the highest, minus anyone who's gone before, gets the next.
Yeah, I'd
story
say
creation.
whoever went in the video before doesn't roll.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
That way, the next one is automatically a new person.
Yep.
I don't have a D20 with me, so rock, paper, scissors it is.
I know next one is Curtis already.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
the order for the next one's already there. Are we just going to keep the same order for the next video?
No, I think we're going to roll to see the next video on who goes.
Okay.
Or just use your phone and use.
I'm going to record a
Google.
new video because I think the time on this worked out perfect.
Yeah.
The next
Alex
one I
got a
recorded
5.
is only 2.5 minutes long.
I mean,
I'd get dropped.
I'll
Each
be
video is
honest.
going to be like a minute and a half.
It may not be bad at 2.5 minutes. It'd be an interesting dynamic to see what we can do in 2.5 minutes versus 5 minutes.
There's just as much detail.
In
but it's
2.5 minutes? Oh
Yeah.
shit!
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess we'll find out next time on Pass Down Stories. If you liked it, let us know. I will be uploading this to YouTube. It'll be live on Sunday when we do Pirates. It will not be on podcast, but it will be. I think I'm going to upload these on our Facebook page. We seem to have a lot of followers
I was going to
there.
say Facebook or YouTube, one of the two.
Yeah, I definitely YouTube because it's automatic. But I think I'm going to put it on Facebook as well on Sunday.
Okay.
Just to see what happens. So, with that, as always, love each other, or be kind to someone tomorrow. Nope. Wow, I'm way off tonight. Be kind to each other. Do something nice for someone tomorrow. Love each other, but most importantly, love yourselves. Have a good night. And fuck cancer.
Fuck cancer.
Cancer.
Fuck cancer.